So one of the things we'd like to start working on this year is a little bit of a timber stand improvement project, just clearing out some of the thick areas and trying to get a little bit more sunlight down to the bottom. These woods of aspen and poplar have gotten pretty overgrown to the point where, you know, there's not a lot of lower branches anymore, and the crowns are all sort of competing for that last little bit of space and last little bit of sun. So where there are crowns that are competing for sunlight, trying to leave the healthy tree, big tree, and then take out some of the littler ones just to give the rest of the ground a little bit of opportunity to grow and to get itself going a bit more. The other thing that we'd like to do while we're doing that is start to think about the deer habitat and the wildlife habitat that we've got here and how we can sort of improve that as well. So trying to keep deer here in the daytime, trying to find places for grouse and rabbits to den up and that sort of thing. So lots of things you can do. You know, I'm no expert, but certainly starting to think about this timber stand improvement project or this whitetail habitat project. So there's going to be a sort of a new series coming that we'll be doing as we sort of do that. So, but this weekend, the big first step is to track and trace all of the existing deer trails and try and get as many of the deer beds that we do see around mapped onto a map. So we're definitely going to be doing that this weekend, and we'll take you along for a bit of that. So we'll explain a little bit as we go along as to how we're doing that and the tools we're using to do that. But basically it means walking the whole property, or at least the wooded area of the property that we'd like to do this timber stand improvement project in, and starting to map out what we see in terms of whitetail activity and where they are now, and then we'll start to thin trees accordingly based on that. So these are all the trails that we walked. I think it's close to about 4 kilometers worth of trails that we walked. It wasn't every single little trail. We tried to stick to sort of any of the main trails or anything like that. So on this map you'll see all sorts of markers that we've put on, and if you touch those, then it'll sort of show you what each of those is. So there was some browsing on some roses that we saw. There was some deer bed with rubs. There was an old tree stand up in the woods that we've found before, but it was still there. So you know, that's a spot that somebody used to hunt anyway. Another deer bed, and this sort of thing. So all sorts of different activity there. And you can see the details, and you can edit the details of each of those individually. So then once I've exported a GPS file from the Galileo Pro app, I can upload that file into Google My Maps, and I can create my own map with that GPS information, and I can
put a layer onto a map so that I can have a look at that with satellite imagery behind it. I can start to add more layers to this now and continue to sort of enhance this map and that sort of thing. So as I go in and start to, you know, cut timber or do different projects within this forest, now I can mark those on another Galileo map and bring that information in here and add it to this one. And so you start to get a really good sense of, you know, what's happening on your land, where things are, with a little bit of work inside of Google Maps. You can, you know, change your icons. Here's that tree stand that we found. There was another hunting stand over here. You know, anywhere I've got a buck, there's a rub of some sort and that sort of thing. And so you can really start to get a sense of what's happening out there, and start to make your plans to improve that habitat or to start to control it a little bit.